Artur Beterbiev stopped Oleksandr Gvozdyk in the 10th round of a light heavyweight unification fight that lived up to the billing. It was a pick'em matchup that nevertheless went more or less as I expected. Gvozdyk, the sharper boxer puncher, got out to an early lead on my card. But Beterbiev, the confident, relentless pressure fighter, broke him down and knocked him out. Technical knockout, of course, which used to be what you called a stoppage where the ref didn't actually count to 10, but that distinction between KO and TKO is hardly used anymore. They're all recorded as KOs because ultimately, if one fighter can't finish the fight, he's been knocked out of the contest. Knocked, punched, out. He can't hang in. I've often talked about why boxing is the most compelling sport. All other sports are, after all, actually metaphors for the imposition of will. If Altuve hits the game winner for his Astros against the Yankees, Chapman. If Kawhi leads his Raptors past the Greek Freak and his Bucks. Even one-on-one sports like tennis. If Federer can't return Djokovic's serve, then we've witnessed the metaphorical imposition of one will or collection of wills over another. In these other sports, the ball is the surrogate for the will. Boxing takes away the ball. What we are there to find out is whose will prevail physically, literally. It's more compelling than a metaphor for the same thing. Oftentimes in boxing, one will is imposed on another by separating the opponent from theirs. Sometimes by turning the opponent's consciousness off, like when Tommy Hearns knocked Roberto Duran unconscious face first. Sometimes by separating the opponent from his own will, as when Trevor Berbick hit the deck in the second round against a young Mike Tyson. Berbick's brain told his body, get up, but Berbick's leg said, can't do it. Sometimes one fighter separates another fighter from his own will by simply beating the fight out of him, by making him want it to stop. Sometimes the beaten fighter will verbally resign, as in, do you want to continue? No. Sometimes the quitting is more subtle. Cus D'Amato, who is credited with breaking the grip of the mob on boxing back when, and who trained champions from Floyd Patterson to Mike Tyson, is seen as the grandfather of boxing psychology. No trainer philosophized and taught the emotional side of the sport like Cus. As in other sports, there are coaching trees in boxing. Freddie Roach, for example, is a disciple of the legendary Eddie Futch. And Cus also trained young trainers like Kevin Rooney and Teddy Atlas. Teddy, more than anyone, has carried on in the psychologically oriented tradition of Cus D'Amato. Teddy trained Oleksandr Gvozdyk for the Beterbiev fight and was in his corner this last Friday night. He had previously guided Gvozdyk to the lineal 175-pound championship in a fight where Gvozdyk survived dangerous moments against a long-reigning power-punching champion, Adonis Stevenson, to win by knockout. After 9 rounds of punishment, in a fight he turned out to be winning on the official cards, Gvozdyk came back to his corner a week ago today, and Teddy exhorted him, essentially to believe that he could still win in a fight that was turning against him. Gvozdyk made it clear to me, at least, through his body language and muted responses, that he didn't believe, that he'd had enough, that his spirit was broken. Maybe it's because it sensed his flesh was too. He got up off his stool and faced Beterbiev anyway because he is a professional prize fighter and because he technically had more to give, but that was really just a technicality. Beterbiev dropped him 3 times and technically knocked him out. I was hosting the broadcast and said that Gvozdyk quit in his corner and have since been criticized for using that term quit, especially in light of the many recent ring fatalities we've seen. The arguments are, 1, that Gvozdyk didn't in fact quit, and 2, that we in the media should maybe not perpetuate a boxing culture wherein it seems as though a fighter must be willing to die. Let's take the second one first. A fighter does not have to be willing to push himself past the point where he's already jeopardized his health to be good, or to make money, or to have a successful career. But he usually does to be great, because boxing is not just a contest of skill, but of will. It is a very dangerous sport. The second criticism, that we in the media should not perpetuate an essentially exploitative culture that sacrifices the health of young people for popular entertainment is legitimate. Words like quit conveys a sense of shame, and in Gvozdyk's case, who after all did answer the bell, are not entirely accurate. I should have said, it looks to me like Gvozdyk has had enough. Everyone has a threshold, even the great ones, even the greatest, because even Muhammad Ali had enough. Moments before Joe Frazier's corner, Eddie Futch, threw in the towel in the Thriller in Manila. One of Ali's greatest victories in one of boxing's all-time most brutal fights. Ali wanted to quit. Sorry. Ali had had enough. Gvozdyk wound up in the hospital for 2 days after last Friday night's fight. Maybe in the corner before the 10th round, he sensed there was something wrong. Maybe, had he fought more effectively in that 10th round and extended the fight, he would have suffered a fate far worse than a 2-day hospital stay. Maybe, had the late Patrick Day decided he'd had enough, I'd have said he quit. In that happy scenario, he'd be around to hear it. Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app. And for live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.